good. Well, it's not really morning anymore here, but today I'm going a slightly different path. But I haven't decided if I should take you along. Lol, I'm so silly. I was like, try not to film these doves because I was like, what if they're mine? No, wait, they're not human. Oh, we're talking about doves. Oh my god, this is perfect. Okay, well, I was gonna say I might or might not take you that path because if the video takes longer. But yeah, I learned about doves, and suddenly it got significant that earlier on I had not known whether to call them pigeons. Like I thought I corrected myself, but now I'm like there's a deeper significance to calling them doves. What I thought was mistakenly, but right on, this is like eating there peacefully, and look, even people are so close, even I'm here, and still like they just don't feel disturbed. And there's the peace stuff, right? We consider a symbol for peace. And I'm thinking, because I always try like so hard to like, I just want to capture everything, but if it gets said, maybe some things will need to be said in a different way now. They're gonna get said in a different way now, but then at least I'll put the thought out. At least people know I thought it, and the inspiration is there, and then maybe things can be realized by people. It's like I'm walking right around them, and I mean I am this far away, but still, because I use the zoom here, but just sitting there peacefully eating. And I came across these on Facebook. So Ford was like teaching me, even sometimes just through like things that like initiate these realizations. There's like a lot about doves, and I posted it all on Facebook, so now it's like I've already said it. But sometimes you try to remember everything, and you end up not remembering it. Oh, I'm on camera, but the doves. So did I learn, of course, why like it stands for peace. And there was a beautiful picture of the dove that it's like a peace dove. I mean, I know they're usually white and these are like gray, but the peacefulness comes through. I should think. Oh, the gentleness. It began with the gentleness. I saw this picture of a dove, pigeon. Well, one of the gray ones, but one of my friends on Facebook had posted it, and it was drinking out of, what do you call it? But it was like drinking out of a tab thing outside, and it's so cute. And I think they even wrote to take care of them or something, to take care of even small creatures. And the gentleness just came through. I was so at first like, what is so beautiful about it? And then I realized the gentleness, and I'd actually written some things about films, because I'd watched The Hobbit, and I was like, so scary. Actually, I'd always kind of thought, why am I scared of this dude? Because I didn't used to be scared. It would seem more like a children's movie, but now I understood the message in it. Suppose maybe I can just film the words of, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I can't put everything out, but I needed this word. I was like kindness, and I was like, what is that word I'm looking for? And I first wrote compassion, but then after this image, I saw gentleness, and it's like, yeah, love is so gentle. And teacher basically, remember her even telling us that Christ is so gentle even when he speaks, and it only makes sense because there's a gentleness that we don't want to hurt each other, we don't want to hurt anyone, and so become gentle when we don't want to hurt anyone, right? And it all like led to like things, because now I'm like, okay, what do I need to say and what not, because I already all said it all, but the order might be different, but it's cute little doves, the gentleness and the regard for each other and for soul. And I was like, at first I was like, for another soul or for souls, but also I said soul because I feel like it's a transcendent thing, if that's an expression. It's like when we say we are all one soul, well, we are not all one soul, we are all souls. But when we say we're all one, but soul is something almost it's like transcendent. I want to think, because it's like when you have regard for one, we have regard for others. So if I have regard for me, I have regard for others. If I have regard for others, I have regard for me. And when I said me, I don't mean ego. If you have more regard for ego, then that's exactly the opposite. But by the way, people are walking past. Okay, I was just gonna say, don't disturb the peace, but also don't disturb. That's what I was talking about. What do you call it? Crime to the soul. I was just about to say they don't even fly away when it's people, because you saw the feet. I also want to film people away. Like I kind of wanted. I thought before I get myself in trouble. I have attempted to avoid it, but at times it would have been. I feel like it might make a better point if I simply got to film what I see. But I was going to say, like, I feel like these laws, privacy laws, don't apply to God. But that's what it means. So anyway, like I was just about to tell you, they didn't fly away, and you saw the feet, and like they didn't. And then I realized, but it was the dog, and that's like, but maybe the imagery already made the point, because that's like, I said, God is our partner in crime, because we have that expression, right? We have like, we say that, and it's like, there's a thing where you are attempting to do something and you really need a loyal partner, and it's like, whom better to have than God? However, it's not a crime. When God is involved, it's not a crime. But it's like, it's like a saying, it's like our expression. I feel like probably everybody all knew what I meant, but now the doves have disappeared. And it is a pity. And I posted this beautiful song. How many seas does a white dove sail before it sleeps in the sand? And I used to find it kind of sad that it sleeps in the sand, because we learned this as a kid and as children in school, the song, and I was kind of like, that's sad. And I realized it's not sad. I had it peaceful, because I put my own mind at ease too. I don't know if other people need to hear it, but I was like, it sleeps peacefully too. The point was, the focus was on the dove anyway. Right, let me exit here. See if any more doves come back. But that's what happens. Crime to the soul takes place. Because I don't know how to explain it to you better than I had on Facebook. However, here, one day maybe my timeline will be way down. I don't know. Maybe, sometimes I suppose God has ways to like let people stumble upon whatever He needs them to stumble upon. However, like, I suppose, like, I feel like YouTube is like, why do I risk it, so to speak? Like, YouTube is kind of better in that sense. You maybe suggested videos by their themes instead of their age. Like, it has to be really old for it to not be suggested anymore, whereas on Facebook we'll see the most recent posts. So I suppose, but like, I wanted to go out in the morning, but then I was like, because part of it's like, I didn't know yet what was gonna come out of me, what I was gonna say. Then I was like, I guess I thought, when I feel like really like I have something to say, then I'll go out. And it's like, I didn't go out, and then while writing, I'd already written most of it on Facebook. I was like, oh wait, I think that's what he wanted me to say, and it was inspired by a dream I had. I don't know if I remember the dream. Wait, what was the dream about? I remember the message of the dream more than the dream, even though I didn't, or wasn't sure if I was really, like, if I was really knowing what the dream actually was trying to tell me. But like, while writing it on Facebook, I realized, oh no, that is it. It still comes through, which is so glad. And yeah, I was just talking to somebody about like doubts, and at the same time, I thought to myself, why do I need to be sure? I haven't needed to be as sure as I thought I needed to be. When we think we're gonna do things when we're sure, it's like, I could do it anyway. And the main thing is, we don't let these doubts take over, and we don't give up. We don't need to give up. I got to do this, and I did get to put a lot of things out that I wouldn't have otherwise if I'd given up because of doubt. It's like a doubt's just in the mind. It's like almost like don't let the doubt win. Don't let it take away from our lives. You know, it's like I don't need to be sure. I need to do it anyway. I have so. But I also feel like things are finding themselves more like nowadays. That's why I wrote "Morning Becomes a Person" because it really does. There's this episode on Frasier, "Morning Becomes Entertainment," and I realized, I'm like, why do I want to post that? Because I never understood the title, and then I was like, I always thought it sounds silly, but then I was like, oh, morning becomes entertainment. Because I don't know if that's, but there's like a show called This Morning, and anyway, I feel like I'm ranting because like I don't know, there's just so many thoughts. One thought leads to the next, so sometimes I get tempted to feel like, hey, this is significant, but oh, it happened because of that thought, and I guess I can't like say it all, but I feel like sometimes maybe the energy already came through with what God wanted me to, or Christ, or both, like wanted me to tell you, wanted you people to be told because, or us, because that happened like right in front of us, our eyes right now with the doves there and then the dog running. So like sometimes it already made its point. I don't know, but I feel like I want to like say, I want to talk about a crime to the soul, because I hope you forgive me that I attempted to say it all right now, and like sometimes sounds maybe more confusing, but anyway, it was morning becomes entertainment, and I realized, oh, and then I was like, morning becomes a person. Actually, what I'm trying to say, like, I found and I prayed for, because it was something I felt like, I thought maybe if I'd had established a system, like more, because I'd never had to have, like, I'd never actually had a system when I was learning about systems and goals, and then later on, it became more significant as to, I learned a lot about what happens when, what's really the matters, or what really is, there isn't really a bad in what we do. It's like what I didn't get to do is what had a greater, I don't want to say bad effect, but like if there was anything I wanted to have done better, it was then the things I didn't get to do as much. So I prayed for a better system, or like for them to help me to establish, or like I don't know if it's establish, like evolve, establish like a system better, more, and like really succeed at that. And before you even expect it to really work, ta-da! Here we are. Just somehow, almost like fell into place. When we say that, it really did feel like it fell into place, and it found itself. And it's not like it was so effortless. I said it was effortless, and like for a while I've been feeling like I want to get back to that, and ta-da! So I guess nowadays, like in the mornings, and when I realize I understand my dream, I'm like, then I like share what I learned from the dream, and even the past 2 months, I woke up and I felt like I don't know if I understand it, and then somehow, what I thought was like best guess, I actually ended up capturing it, and then posted all these things. So it's like it's kind of good to kind of maybe it didn't physically work out as the morning, but it's like sort of like first thing, post these things, and then move on and also get to live my day. And what I want to do is kind of begin to like go out and film. I don't know if I want to say it and it takes away from it later, because I felt that I tell somebody something and then somehow I don't know if it takes away, but somehow I then end up not doing it because I talked it, or even other people developing the expectation as to, you said you wanted to do this, yeah, that was all we need. However, it's kind of, it would be good to get to do that. Why do I feel like, this is what I mean, like, I want to kind of explain it all, but then I feel like sometimes it sounds like a cuddle muddle. But morning becomes morning becomes a person. It really does. I know it's my morning here, and other people maybe in completely different parts of the world, and it's a different time for them. However, I thought to myself also like the energy that I have like from my morning, because my morning is just like waking up in the most energetic part of the day. That energy gets put through, even if physically it's like they're 5 o'clock or whatever it may be. Because I guess I can't wake up for people in the middle of the night because that's their morning, but like, or they can choose to watch this in the morning if they want. But our teacher used to say that, like, she kind of said something similar, so never mind. Let's get back to the crime to the soul, because I was talking about, I don't know if I should just like do a screen recording, because everything's already gotten set on there, but like now we have a visual like to underlay it, and like with a thousand they flew away, and it's almost like, because we don't really think of crime necessarily as crime to the soul. We kind of have these laws and we have like these definitions, and then we have like some really detailedly defined things by law as to when something counts as what, and then you need like proof, and it's like, but I wanted to explain that sometimes crime, I didn't even mean it that way, like it could be potentially more subtle than expected, or like subliminal, like I want to say in spirit. Yeah, and I guess it's the opposite of like gentleness, and we got to see it with, if something is like so disturbed to the soul, it may be disturbing. Yeah, I do feel that it deserves recognition as well. Because the doves were super peaceful right there, or pigeons, but you know what I mean, like. And then I feel like does make the point of peace more. Ooh, wait, oh, it was just the way it flying. It was fine. I don't know if you saw it, him or her, I suppose, but looked like in one of those pictures when we always like draw them, and I found a bunch in, and I kind of was a bit indecisive about, because I kind of liked them all, and it's like each of them had like their own beauty, and then I posted a whole bunch of them. But I don't know if people like think that I have nothing better to do on Facebook. It's like I want to bring it to the people who will see it, and I want the point to be made. Here we are. Should I get closer again? That's the thing. Should I get closer or disturb her about like gentleness? Gentleness will allow us to. Maybe sometimes people know better what I meant than I think. Because somebody needs to hear it, maybe. Because how did you better explain it? Because like the words are already the explanation. Crime to the soul. It's like, I was looking for a word, because at first I was like cruelty, but I feel like I mean something slightly different. It didn't feel like it always needed to be as strong as that. Ooh, and I wrote this whole thing because the guy, what's his name? Not Ugluk, he's like from The Hobbit. That orc, the pale orc, he's such a creep, and I never understood in films, because I was like, should I get a little closer here? I used to like not, of course my point will be on the left. She actually flies away. Or he. I want to say he, but I would say he. You can tell with pigeons, can't you? Oh god, okay. I just embarrassed myself. Right. He. Hi there. Hi, Dovey. I might begin to call pigeons doves because pigeon. Hi, how are you? And sometimes funny, like when you like talk to animals, like I'm not talking, like I literally just like speak to them. Hi there. They look at you like so surprised because they're not used to like receiving that regard from humans, like being acknowledged as a living being, as a soul on this earth. Have you ever noticed that? So when I said talk, I didn't mean kind of a crazy way, but simply standing like, hi, like this happened to me with a dove the other day. They looked at me like, a human is talking to me, like, I'm not saying they speak our language, but you know what I mean, like, but they have some sort of, they're not completely stupid either, like they, yeah, no, not for people think I'm crazy, but they can actually sense like our feelings, and I think they pick up like our images, our thoughts. Oh, that I talked about it with a heron before, so I don't have to do myself, but I mean, I could like speak forever, so I pray that it finds itself even more, so that it will be not structured like in a sterile way, but kind of like easy to be made sense of when you hear it in like a chronological order or something. So maybe if I go out tomorrow morning and begin to speak before I post anything, simply don't want to promise it. I will see. Look, I'll see. But if not, at least I got put out. Hi there, cutie pie. How you doing? Like, that's what I mean. Look at her. Or him, sorry. Looking like, talking to me? Like, talking to me like... They're not used to it because we don't regard them. We don't give them any regard. And unfortunately, there's a lot of disregard for nature, but it has been. But we all know with lockdown, a lot of things have changed, but also like, you know, it's not something you normally like think of. Oh, they do look really peaceful. Oh, and the fact that that image on Facebook, the dove was drinking out of the tub, like I said. Simply the fact that even somebody put a tap on there, the gentleness of allowing him to drink from it, came through really well. So cute. I really have been trying like find words that make the point more, but you could see with the dog, suddenly the storming was like there, and the dog runs and it tries to catch him. Of course I fly away, and it's like, it's pigeons taken away, and I kind of thinking, trying to find like a sentence. Maybe gentleness is the language of heaven or something. Like, I'm not saying that literally, but I know there's no language there, but you know, some of the sentence I like the idea, but then I don't know. I don't want to put anything out that will be misunderstood, misconstrued, and then I wouldn't want to say anything that Christ wouldn't have wanted me to say. But it's a beautiful. I feel like that one of the big difference that makes the difference between earth and heaven is that gentleness there, and where we are like we have already like, come to like accept cruelty to the soul. It's just a simple moment. And you can say, yeah, but you know, that's dog's instinct and that's what they do, and how do we know how it could be in generations down the I was gonna say eons, but let's hope it's soon. Is how do we know? Like, if we are teaching it, if we, you know, walk the walk and live by example, then certainly affect not only our children, but eventually animals too. It does. It says in the Bible that the lion will lay by the lamb peacefully. So, ooh, the lion is gentle. It is strong yet gentle, and like oh, I wrote this whole thing on Facebook about. Basically, I went back to Facebook when I wasn't really on top of like my YouTube, and I didn't have that system in place where I would film and then upload, and like I kind of have gone to. I need to do what needs to be done in this day, and then we can see wherever there's time left. I can sort of go back to older stories, but at least I'll be like with other people now. That makes some sense. Also, cause that's one of the things I thought that I think yesterday or something. I was like, well, maybe it will get said differently now. So I just can't. What can't I? Like, I can't. I just can't. I won't be traveling back in time. And as well, there were a lot of the things I felt like they were, you know, the basics that I wanted to put through to you, and I kind of thought to myself, well, I feel like if I got and say that, then because they're basic and it's like it builds on each other. But then I noticed, kind of, well, it will get said differently now, but it will get said in this way, like, at least I don't want to promise that, but like, you know. will be said in the way it fits into this thing today. As I then noticed people asking me things where I realized, and they were bringing it to my attention that this is still something, a question that people are asking themselves. So if there's anything I have to say, then I kind of wanted to put that through in this so much, and yet like, so I don't know, should I just switch the video? Because there were like so many thoughts and I wanted to like put them all in. So cute though, hi! It's a big two pigeon, but the fact that we're talking about doves, it was just making a point. Literally, and you could literally get I feel like under like there you could take the same theme from so many angles. But anyway, what I wrote on Facebook was about this whole somebody lost my head. Well, it was about like, you know, I posed the question, why do we sort of teach our children? Why do we introduce our children to, and I still call it cruelty because I hadn't arrived at the word yet, like crime through the soul. Why do we introduce them to it? We already introduce them to it through books and, you know, like stories, however, like whatever medium you use, like films or TV series, etc. And now it is YouTube too, which I was kind of shielded from when I was just a babe. Hi. No one came. Ooh, they were in a pair. There was something about Noah's Ark. And I kept coming across, and even one of them, I didn't think it was interesting because I didn't think a lot of the other things were interesting. Like the person that I didn't vibe with a vibe, but like it wouldn't close, and I'm like, and even the person was saying, I normally don't read from the Bible, but I'm reading this, and it's like, but they went to the Ark in pairs, and so I don't know yet if like everything that God would have wanted me to capture has come through, but. Hi! That's what I mean by looking. Like, he's talking to me? They don't like expect you to because we don't really do that. Well, my mom was very into nature. Ooh, okay, thank you. What is that? It's like a warning thing, or is it like a, you know, they like dancing to their wives or future wives. Look at me, I'm so pretty. But good. You warned me. So stay away. Gentleness. Yeah. It's already long. This video. Dang it. Look, there's the arc, and so many things that are worth saying. So many little thoughts. Also, at some point I was like, I'm gonna take notes. But then, like afterwards, I thought, well, this was way earlier, but well, if I'm putting the time to like write the notes, I guess I fooled myself into thinking, or I guess the thought at the time was like, well, if I spend all this time writing the notes and then make the video off the notes, why not use that time to make the video? Since I felt like I was not on top of handling the volume of things coming at me. Oh my gosh, I also do have to go. Oh no. So I gotta go somewhere. Well, I could do another vlogging thing. And yesterday I thought, my whole life is online, but then I was like, well, but other people do vlogs, and like, nowadays I understand like why they sometimes say it's kind of scary. I get it now. Really, whole life is online. It's like it's worth it. And I kind of didn't think about it too much because also all these things feel so beautiful. Ooh, but do you remember they were like in pairs here? So, and like I noticed only because only one came back. Oh, but I wonder what God's trying to tell us with that. Only like it's like you belong together, and like I guess because they were in pairs, God ensured their survival, which maybe be the bigger point, because this one guy, the video I mentioned, what I'd seen on Facebook, it was like, hi! He was talking about, hello there! he read some passage where it said, "Whosoever I guess, believes and follows my word will be, I guess, spared." I don't remember the exact words, but it was about being led out of, there was like a flood was mentioned and things like that. And I mean, there was a massive flood with the ark and Noah, and then he rescued them, and it was God who rescued them. I don't know if it sounds like I don't know what I'm trying to say, because I know, because I said it on Facebook, but it's like the wording that I don't have the exact words. But that was also related to partner in crime. That's why it kind of fit right in, because like he leads us out of anything, right? And I was like, at first I said takes us out, then I was like led, and then I was like, there's a kind of subtle difference to being guided out. But then somebody said something to me about thoughts. I didn't about doubts. But like, I guess my thinking is, okay, if one thing is the maximum I can muster at the time, I want to still do that rather than doing nothing, putting nothing out. So maybe in the future we can learn more about what if I don't have to like perfectly, but like I did notice there's a difference between taking someone out, leading someone out, and guiding. But we say is guidance, and Noah, the ark, and everybody knows the story, so he led them out. He led them out of the flood. There was a flood. I mean, it's like comparable, I guess, suppose we can imagine, because we hear a lot in the news about like tsunamis or like flooding. And he let them out, so it's like the point is being made that nobody's left behind, but turn to the Lord and He will help us. Like we call Him the Almighty, because He's literally Almighty. And when you think, oh, can't or this not, He always have a way. That's why He is Almighty. So, and it fit. Hi, honey. How are you doing? Looking at me? Yes, I did notice you. Hi. So cute. Cutie pie. Hello. But I feel like at least I made this video, like, I in the past would have put it on Facebook. Somebody would have like felt like I dumped it on Facebook, because I was like, well, that's where the people are, so at least they hear it and read it. If nothing else, then they have that information. And now it's like, I'm making a video too, so it's kind of, I wanted to find myself more in the future. Honey! I would have dumped it there if I had felt that I had the, like, whatever, it's like, capacity to handle the volume or something, like, known to, is he telling me, like, stay away? See, like, gentleness is like, I guess the visual's almost telling it us by itself, like, he's told me to go stay away. It seems like, anyway, like a warning sign, like, maybe making himself look bigger, I don't know. Bigger and scarier, even if doves ain't scary to us, but why do we even need anything else but gentleness? I mean, I could go on forever, but I also need to go somewhere, so maybe later and I don't know. I know if you want to hear more, if it's like, what is it, because I don't know what it will sound like later. That reminded me of a funny chicken. Chicken on Facebook had grown up as duck, so it like was walking like a duck, which was really funny. And the way he was just standing, but bye, Dovey, bye, pigeon, love you. Have a lovely, gentle day. Bye. Gentle is so beautiful, and I feel like we all like it when we feel it. So what's the problem? Even the steeds for having regard. Okay. Yeah, because a partner in crime statement, it's like always turning to him. I don't know. I feel like I could have. Ooh, wait, I'll just film on the way. But then I'd also want to keep the videos like reasonable lengths, because for YouTube it's probably already not. But deter me, and with a length. But I want to get everything said that needs to be said. Yeah, I don't know. And I want to find the videos in retrospect, the things I saw on Facebook about the Noah's Ark, and then maybe like in retrospect, like look at them, understand more, but I can't find them. But I'd love to see the themes. So okay, partner in crime. Well, it doesn't need to be crime now. Obviously, not a crime buddy with him, but I'm looking, I'm thinking Noah's Ark, and then how it lay like everything reflourished, and if you taken plants, you probably have planted the trees, and it's like just had that thought how beautiful it must have been. And well, don't want to say anything that takes away. And this is coming from me, but like I used to have this thought that I'd like, by the way, talking about the beautiful flourishing plants, and like I don't really know. One second. Not so beautiful. Sorry. Ooh, the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know if that fits right in there, but well, I was like, look at all the like, what do you call this? But everything, plants, flora and fauna, just like not really botanical things, but just having so many different types of animals, creatures. Oh, by the way, and the doves have an olive branch in their beak. I guess this can be like a summary of like what I wrote on Facebook, but this video, but because those who have seen it, they will know. But like, I know for people later. None of the words have ripened yet. What I'm trying to say. So I only just felt it when I was looking at this like tree, but he made everything really rich, and of course he's gonna look after his creation. I mean, he created us, so all we need to do is turn to him. So hey there. Oh, didn't see him. I didn't get to film him, but there was someone. I was gonna say creeping, crying, shouting, screaming, making himself heard. And be nice to feel more balanced if I just have like this time to do this in like the morning. I don't know. Well, you know, maybe I'll capture it later, if not yet, and then speak more on it later. But there were always two. I don't know what's significant, but it feels significant. When it fit into this time, because it's not the only time it like refers to, but we also are seeing not a flood, but sort of flooded by a virus rather than water. And the flora and fauna, I don't know the English word. It's like the whole creation is like flourishing. We see it. We do. It's plants everywhere. Yeah, to go somewhere I want to miss out. Then I have to listen to like I'm not gonna say who, but somebody telling you, I told you, da, da, da. It just feels like this is like more important. I want to do that. I mean, oh yeah, I don't know. Relates to something else I want to talk about. But I'm actually going to Western Union. I'm sending some money to somebody in Africa. Yay! I was like, I don't know if I should mention it, but it will relate to everything. It relates to something I wanted to tell you. And I don't know. I know, but like I feel like if I explain everything, then I have to explain more things to explain the explanation, and then it's so much you might not even want to have heard it. So, by the way, there's a cute pathway. They hardly ever go. And also, this is like the path that I used to walk a lot last year. In the other video, I avoided it, and like I realized, I learned to avoid it even more. Like sometimes we've learned things more than we realized because we even, now to notice and had the awareness. Why do we focus on everything we didn't do in a way where we say, oh, that was so bad or something? But be probably another thing. But I noticed, like, hey, I was standing there. I was recording, not filming, but I noticed, and I decided I did not walk the path. Now the only thing is the exact place where I had to go is like right behind it, but normally I never come here anymore. Even when there's like a supermarket, if I wanted to be home there, I always like turn the way and like choose the other one. Well, talking about flora and fauna, I don't really know like the English word, but at least Alex said what I meant. And then, like, you can know, if you need to. Beautiful sound. Like, there's so much life. Man, I don't know if there's anything I'm missing. But the one thing I wanted to tell you from my side was, and early on is one of the things I want to have told you, but I learned so much. There's such depth to like statements, even from the Bible. Why do I say even? Like so many statements, and like, oh hey, there's one guy whose English name I also forgot, but she's right there. This time we know it's a she. Hi there. So you can't even see them because they're so well hidden in their big colors. Well, I think the story of Noah and the Ark was probably one of the, if not the story that I, back in the day, when I was younger, like, knew the least how to explain to myself, as we don't really see that happening in, even like the parting of the waves with masses. And yet I have learned all the things I didn't know, but that's one of the things I want to have told you. And I remember the first statement and reading it, stumbling across it, and I was like, I understand it, I get that now. So there's such a depth to things that now I know. I almost didn't know how to tell you when I thought it to tell you, because I was like, how do I put it? But now I know I'm not going to be the one to tell God what needed to have been true or have happened, or at a time more than 2,000 years ago that I was not alive at, and he will be the one to teach me whatever from it he needs me to understand, or what I need to know. Hi there. And so, what do I know? And I had this thought that maybe people back then were more in tune with, these miracles of God, and if there's something hard to imagine anyone. I don't want to speak on it and perpetuate it, so that's like, however, if somebody is asking the same question, because I asked myself the same question, and I found an answer, I want to put out the answer, and yeah. Because that's kind of what miracles are. We call them miracles because of that. So, hard to believe in are two very different things. And with like speak no evil and everything, I don't even want to I don't know sometimes how to put things with, I don't want to even put the word untrue in the same sentence as, God and the Bible. And however, I learned what I really learned about the Bible was I simply, with many passages, I'm the one who does not know yet to understand. How would I know if I even know enough? So I'm not gonna make my judgments about it. So, you know, a lot of people say we don't need to everything literally. How would we know? And I now believe that after having to not having had to, but I'm doing this, attempting to put things out through you guys, that listen to it and things become sensitive and want to listen to God and attempt to capture what He wanted to, say to you. So, who am I to say? What would I know about who, because we say, who lived back then and who did what when so many years ago. I don't know, why am I having this feeling I'm not allowed to, I don't know, I'm not in position to even, begin to speak on it, because even to say it, how would we even question God's word? However, there's so many things to learn through it, so not questioning His word, taking everything literally, that maybe we need to just, I don't know how to put this, because I don't want to commit blasphemy, you guys. However, I've learned a lot, that there's a lot I didn't know. How can I put it better? That's just, I don't know. But I thought about, because a lot of people say, the Bible was written by humans. Well, yes, it was. However, we are all human. Don't we all want to find our way back then? How would I know? Well, they knew if they had a closer relationship to Him, then... Oh, God. I don't know if this is borderline blasphemy, so... Maybe I should leave it at this. Not because blasphemy is bad or not bad, but because I don't want to fall out of His grace. I would like to do what is of benefit to all. So I want to find the right words, So if there's anything I get the sense that it's sort of, I don't know about, then, maybe, and it's gonna sound the way it's sounding at the moment. Because of the conversation with doubt, I guess it might be doubtful. That conversation about doubts made me doubtful. No, but how do I explain it? I don't know how it sounds to the people listening to it, but unless I want to listen to it back to it, but also it will be me hearing it. Maybe hearing a new note to it, or and there's a human. I saw a new species. I'm just kidding. To be one with nature. I hope that makes. Well, it does make sense, but I hope it comes through what I mean. And I just feel like I have a valid reason when so long I did not know how to make sense of it to me. So I guess there's something I learned about it, tell you. Oh, because I was saying that I don't know how people hear it, because if they think I always doubt myself, I don't know if it's if I say I don't know, it may not be that I don't know what it is, what I'm saying, but how to put it, and that can be one of the reasons. So I guess I thought I'll give you a reason one time. Oh, sorry, the lighting was really funny right now. Right, here we are. Sometimes maybe people might get it just simply from maybe looking at it, maybe because if the meaning has been captured in energy, we already may get a sense of it. What was meant, yeah, I can agree to it, and then wait, I don't even know if I have the words of what she was trying to say, because she didn't know. And obviously, things can be learned elsewhere, not just here. But that's about it. I think okay, please note how to, talking about like the rich creation. What is a real animal? What's not? It's like a fake cat here. So, well, I'll put it out later. When it comes to me, I guess more you wanted me to say. I don't know. And to learn in the sameness of time. But it's like he keeps us alive, the fact that they were always in pairs. And they thought to take two of each, like one male and one female. Like they had a regard for all of them, and they took all of them. Also, none was left behind, and they started a new life. Ow! Why did you poke me? Right, I think maybe I'll wrap this up. On my way back, and I'm like talking.
Oh!
Ooh.
Oh, Robert.
Ooh.
What happened?
You know what? Sometimes kids don't cry in the first place. But then, like, we get worried and then they sense it and then they, like, start crying. Not always. But that happens. I kind of feel bad. Poor kid. Well. Can't undo it. I'm just thinking. Is there anything else I wanted to have mentioned? Or maybe like sometimes you kind of you try so hard and that's the part where you're like, oh, I didn't need to say that when you listen to it later. And I haven't really had. I know we say I didn't have the time. I know. Also, do we know how to handle the time and stuff? But wait. Don't make it slip my mind. I haven't really had like the chance to do it much, but I did notice I've learned at times from like my own or the things that I myself say. Like when I listen to it, like I learn it too, or like it reminds me, or sometimes I notice a new aspect to it. There's actually one which is creepy. I'm like, I saw that in my eyes. I was like, what? But the other thing I thought about it, I didn't even see anymore. So we evolve and things look different, and we can learn the new things from the same things. So, but if I ever thought I was sure about it, or this is bad or whatever, I realized we get to learn from it. So fair enough. It is what it is, you know. What else? I began a sentence there with, his name is not Ugluk, it's something else. Azog. For anyone who knows The Hobbit, but it doesn't matter, like this orc, like this creepy, the bad guy, the creature in the movie, that's why. I never used to understand why they always get angry at, like, their partners in actual crime. I don't know if I want to say it because that's not a nice partner. That's not really being a partner, is it? If you're not even on the... I know there are no sides, but like, if you're not on the... Oh God, if you're when you're with God, you're with everybody. But I never understood what... Oh my God. Okay. Well, sorry if I used the wrong words. Sorry to go. This dude... I never used to understand why in movies they get angry at their own, like, whatever, servants or something. You just, like, freak out on them. Even they're sort of what you think is friends, but I realize they aren't friends. That's why they do this. Because they're already so-called evil. Because in movies there are evil, isn't it? Even if there is no evil, but in movies. And I guess we show the extreme side of things as well. And so I never used to understand like, why is he so angry at him, the dude who helped him, in this case the other orc, helped him attempt to capture the dwarves, and they failed due to no fault of their own sorts, because, well, one of their fault is they're on the wrong side. I know there are no sides, but for all intents and purposes, that's why because the good was stronger, and then the main evil guy was freaked out on him. But the first time, like, I saw something in his eyes, I was like, whoa, who was that actor? Because even though it's computer animated, I thought it was good acting. Like, I saw in his eyes, like, he's evil, and he had like a, not only evil, like a regard to, like, almost like a deranged beauty of it, that in his mind, I was like, whoa. And like, he freaked out, and I realized he freaked out on them because he didn't love anything. I just kind of realized, I'd always thought, why do they freak out on their so-called friends? I realized they're not friends. But that was just, I saw them as friends in the movies when I was younger, because that's how I would have thought, because I regarded my friends as my friend. Because I thought, well, if you're on a side with other people, or in a group or something, in this case, like a bunch of orcs who work for this one pale orc, you really, it's like, you seem to be with others, but I realized that it's almost like each on their own, but like in a not a good way. Like, he just was so full of hatred, and I realized he's so selfish that all he wanted was just things for himself. He just wanted what he wanted. He wanted revenge on the king of the dwarves due to some feud that was ages ago, probably totally unnecessary. Could have just resolved it with kindness, peace, and then we're back to the beginning of gentleness and everything. But also, I didn't talk about peace, but well, you know, like, he wasn't peaceful within himself, so nothing else mattered. He only cared about what he wanted, not even of the orcs they thought were sort of his friends. Because I was thinking, well, if they don't like the bad side, why do they still work for him? And somebody once told me, oh, they want to be bad, they try, but they're just bad at it. I don't know, but it's just like, it was a revelation. Revelation, yes, it was. Revelation. Sounds like revelation. Hey, that should be a word. I made up a new word. I don't know if it just, because some words I know they're words, but with this one I don't know if I just made it up. But the one of said cremation because I was like, I said cremation of the temptation for crime, of the seed for crime. It's like, by choosing God, by choosing to be with Him, choosing gentleness, I suppose. I know it wasn't physical cremation either, but fire, like, I don't know the word tilden, but it's like, fire takes everything, isn't it? It doesn't really, the flames don't really ask much like a virus. They kind of just, I hope that makes sense. Well, you know what, if you don't get it now, you'll get it later. Because the video is an hour long. But is that coming through to you with the hobbit, not the hobbit, the orc? I realized he did not have the regard for his friends. He did not love his friends, or he did not even like them. They weren't even friends. They were simply, well, I was gonna say humans, well, orcs, to do his bidding, because he wanted to get the job done, and that's why they always freak out. And it's like, you don't have enough for yourself, you don't have enough for anybody. So how can you have friends? So it's like, so interesting. And I realized it today. This is things I remember from my childhood. You things you always kind of thought, and I always thought in every movie it's the same. But every movie I didn't get it until today, or yesterday. Well, I watched it as well. So it's a lesson of like, can they be friendship? If you can't make friends with God, can there be real friendship? Can there be real mutual support? You can't really ever do it right to this evil guy. And continue to keep in mind, but when we can make peace with God, we make peace with ourselves. And it's funny to say because God is peace. You know, He probably made peace with you, but when we can make peace with ourselves, then, and that leads back to partner in crime. It's like when we're with God, we're with everybody. Oh, this was something I think I said a bit earlier, but when we're with God, we're with everyone. We are all one. God is one. God is all. God is with all things, in all things, and within all things. So when we're with Him, and then there needs to be no crime. Cheating things, attempting to do things needs no crime. It needs gentleness. And you know, I don't know if somebody needs to hear this, but anyone who thinks like, you know, if you could just tell one of those other orcs, he ain't really your friend. He ain't really trying to do anything good for you. I think they will be rewarded if like they succeed at getting the doors, and then he'll be so happy with them and whatever. If they confuse it with something like lever or something, because you ain't gonna get that from him. I've seen the, so I don't know, I see that look in his eyes. Because I don't call anything evil, but like because it's a movie, the evil in his eyes, and he had that like. He had that glow, like deranged, like evil, but at the same time, like maybe it's like power hungry. It was like so, like I understood it for the first time. There's literally like endless things. I mean, you can watch a movie and you can have like an epiphany. So that's why like I really can't say it all, but I'll try. Oh, there are little flies here, which they are picking up a little bit on camera. Hi there. Literally, there's so many species, and whatever else I'll learn about the arc, I'll somewhere put it on Facebook or make a new one video. Like, yeah, you guys let me know what it feels like to watch like an hour. But sometimes I watch my videos and I'm like, this doesn't sound as, you know, mixed up as I thought while saying it, and I was like, it doesn't add up. It does make sense. And like half an hour past the other day, and I'm like, hey, wait, it's already half an hour, so it didn't feel as bad as I thought while saying, or like, it didn't feel like I thought it was when I was saying it, but I obviously wouldn't know how it sounds to other people. And yet again, then at least like, I'm putting this out, and it's like, I'm with the people, like, trying to give them this, so. Because by the quote, partner in crime, it's not really about really crime. Right? We use it for when there's the attempting to do something, and then, oh, I said that, didn't I? Like, I haven't said it the same, but sometimes you say it the same, the words actually sound the same, but then you're like, trying to put through something different. But, and you know, always help us. It's like, at first I said if there's nobody else, but I was like, no wait, he should be the first to go to, because he can actually always help us. Even whereas humans are only human, or in that case, the orc is another orc. But God is God, God is almighty. He can do anything. He does anything for us. And even if it takes something that you didn't think it was gonna take that to get it, but then like finally you did. Be it a virus, be it nobody being there but him, or whatever people go through. Right, I'm going to cut this off. It has actually become longer than an hour. And yeah. Listening back to it. Well, I put a lot of videos on which I can't remember what's in them, and at the time I maybe felt like, well, I embarrassed myself or something, but where I wasn't entirely satisfied with how everything had gone, but now it's like, I kind of need to just put them on, because I don't need to like worry about that anymore. So yeah, I did hope you like it. I hope you like the main themes, and if there are parts that didn't really like resonate with you, like not yet, then like let's look at all the parts that worked. And but it's funny, it's things that I thought I'd never know, because for so long I'd never known. Like with a movie, there's things I didn't understand, and like wait, it all makes sense. Now it makes sense. Like, it all begins adding up. So, like, when we are ripened, we say the time is right, but also when we have ripened, that's when, like, these opportunities come to us. And I used to think the movie didn't make sense, but I had simply not understood to make sense of it, how to make sense of it. To make sense of it yet. So, and I say, obviously I don't want to like compare such an evil scene to, you know, a book like the Bible. However, the making sense of something thing, the principle, is pretty much the same for anything. Maybe not always, but, you know, when we say, it's not you, it's me, it really was. So, okay. Well, thank you for your attention. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. I hope this helped somebody, or that it was something somebody needed to hear, gave somebody good information, useful information. And, yeah. I hope you like the Noah's Ark story. And I'll see you in the next one, probably. Bye! If not tomorrow, then one of these days. Okay, bye-bye.